Settle up, baby. All right. Well, the city council meeting, the December 2nd city council meeting, to order. Follow the roll.
Abby Hansen. Here. John Hopkins.
Here.
Megan McFarland. Here. Matt McKinney.
Here.
Logan Welch.
Okay. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
You should approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Item 1, petitions, communications and requests. This is the time of the meeting that a citizen may address the council on a matter not on the agenda. No more than 5 minutes per person, except in case of emergency. The city council will not take any action at this meeting, but may our city staff to research the matter or have the matter placed on the agenda for a future meeting. Paul.
Paul Dahl, I live at 1430 Kendall Young Road, just the old Calvin. I just have two issues I'd like to bring to your attention. The other day I was on 2nd Street and using the pedestrian crosswalk, and I was going north on it, and a car came, and I even went like this. They just went right on through. So even on the marked pedestrian walks, we don't have people obeying it. And of course, I was a transit bus driver and I saw it all the time. I'd stop on any road, but the other lane would just keep driving, wouldn't allow people across.
Seems to be an American problem.
Right. So we're not the only place.
No, well, I have the same problem myself because in Australia, if you put a foot on a crosswalk, you don't stop, you're fined. You're not allowed to. That's the rules. It's everybody there. The minute somebody puts a foot on, they stop.
Right.
It's annoying because some people don't actually walk at the time.
So I know I've talked to Mr. Oliver about this, so hopefully the paper will run an article on it.
Well, we can look at something else too in the future. Maybe we're putting some reminders out or something. I don't know, in this springtime.
The second issue, I was just going to ask, when you condemn property, does the city take ownership of the land on that property?
When we
condemn a building?
No, not if we condemn a building, we don't. Now, if we go take it to court, isn't it? Once we take it to court and they give us possession of it, for whatever reason,
okay,
then we own it.
I was wondering if you do take possession of any land, if you would consider having a community garden or plant trees in that just to create a green space.
We have more parks in Webster City than nearly every city in the state. You realize that?
Right, I realize that, but the community garden thing, I think would be a good idea. So I just wanted to recommend that course of action. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good ideas. Anyone else have anything? Anne? Okay. So the proclamation. So we have first Lego League Day again on Saturday. So whereas Webster City High School has been chosen to host the first Lego League regional qualification tournament, which will bring around 28 first Lego League teams to Webster City from across the state of Iowa for a day of friendly competition. Whereas FIRST is an international not-for-profit organisation founded by accomplished inventor Dean Kamen in 1989 and has proven to impact on STEM learning, interest and skill building well beyond high school. And whereas FIRST, for inspiration and recognition of science and technology, is a robotics community that prepares young people for the future through the pursuit of inclusive, team-based robotic programs for ages 4 to 18. And that can be facilitated in school or in structured after-school programs. And whereas teams operate under the signature set of FIRST core values, which include discovery, innovation, impact, inclusion, teamwork, and fun, to conduct research, fundraise, design, build, and showcase their achievements during annual challenges. And whereas the FIRST community expresses the FIRST philosophies of gracious professionalism and cooperation through the core values mentioned above. Gracious professionals learn and compete like crazy, but treat one another with respect and kindness. Cooperation. Cooperation.
It's cool. I think it's just
I'm not saying that right.
Cooper.
It's misspelled. It's cooperation is display.
That's what I would have thought. You said it right the first time. All right, sorry about that. There's disqualifying unqualified kindness and respect in the face of fierce competition and is founded to the concept of philosophy that teams can or should help cooperate with each other and even as they compete. And therefore, I, John Hawkins, Mayor, do hereby proclaim December 7th as first Lego League Day in Webster City, Iowa, and encourage all teams to compete with integrity and sensitivity in their quest to advance to the state tournament, and for citizens, residents, and visitors to recognise this event as opportunities for the participants that create connections and open pathways to a wide variety of careers. All and everybody there has a wonderful time, I can tell you, last year. Very enthusiastic. All right. So item 2 is minutes, claims, reports, licenses and requests. The following items have been deemed to be non-controversial routine actions to be approved by the council on a single motion. If a council member or member of the audience wishes to have an item removed from this list, will be considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. I have item A, minutes of November 18 for the regular council meeting. B is claims, including payroll ending November 16 and the fund list. Remove the Castor bill for $133,322.13 will be approved later on the agenda. And then that's it.
Move to approve collectively.
Second.
Okay, all those in favour say aye.
Aye.
General agenda, item A is resolution amending the City of Webster City capitalisation policy by adding bulk purchases to the capitalisation threshold. Evening, Dodie.
Good evening. So this is just an update as there's a new GASB requirement in group assets. In the past, purchases were evaluated individually. So, we bought 10 computers at $2,500 for 25,000, we would just do the 2,500 each. So GASB said, well, there might be situations where it's a group like furniture. Is it like, let's say we're going to buy new furniture for an office. Should we capitalize all of the furniture and not just look at it as one desk, one file cabinet, whatnot? So the auditors just asked that we update the capitalization policy. So while doing such, we also decided to, so I have it highlighted in yellow. In the policy, I think. The changes. So that we want to add a paragraph. The thresholds, we want to just change the verbiage from general capital to individual, add the bulk purchases and the infrastructure. So, or the infrastructure currently at 25,000, we want to make it 50, and leave the individual assets at 5,000. So I had just researched what would be normal for capitalization. And I put that in the memo that like it was at 25,000 for infrastructure, the buying power between, I can't remember what year now, 2004. And now has increased pretty much to 40,000, but we tacked on another 10,000, thought that would be sufficient. I did have the auditors review policy and they were pleased with it.
Well, if it's another 20 years before we look at it again.
Well, true.
But 50,000 look like it's not enough then.
So, and then there was just a little bit of change on the last page as far as the method of depreciation.
It will say though, like,
what all is in that bulk though, right?
Yeah,
Cause it's not like we're just gonna
we're not allowing
pay it
it.
and then who knows what's actually in that bulk, right? I don't know, I'm confused, so I just wanna,
Well. If like, if it was, let's just say it was, let's go back to the furniture.
Mhm.
I would probably list it as, office furniture for city manager. Or whatever, and so let's say it's 50. Oh, it's probably a lot. Well, I guess we have to be. Well, the spot. We're just gonna say the 50,000, which obviously
Okay.
that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
But we'll use 50, so that's on there, and it's got a life of 20 years.
Mhm.
So then we'll just appreciate the 50,000 over the 20 years, but no, it will say, we're not gonna put it in there individually, is that what you mean?
But you'd be able to track
When-
back to invoicing that it was one desk, a chair, a file.
Oh, what
everything
that,
grouped
no,
together.
it's, right, you would have to go back, it's not going to list each item on, we don't have enough room.
But everything will be accounted for.
On our software.
Yeah, okay, is this as long as like we can account for like what was actually in that 50,000?
So it's not a $49,000 desk,
Yeah,
is what she's getting at.
So in
Or
10
just
years, when
like-
we're counting it and we removed one file cabinet. Right, is
No,
that?
she's
Anything.
thinking, you're thinking more when we pay it. aren't you?
No, I think she's
When we
meaning
receive
when
the
we're
bill.
verifying.
yeah, well, I just wanna make sure that like something's not just gonna like get thrown in there or, you know, like, and we're just paying 50,000 and it's being said that it's like a desk and a filing cabinet, but really there might be something else. And we just don't know, cause there's not any documentation as to what's in it. I'm not saying that will happen, I'm just saying that's something that could happen, I don't know.
It could on the asset list or what you're producing for our auditing purposes, those records would be available on invoices. How long do you keep invoices for?
Well, 5 years,
Uh-oh.
but now that we have the laserfish, probably much longer.
Right.
But on the initial purchase, it's gonna be audited.
Okay, that's what I mean.
So we're going to have that.
Yes.
As far as
Yes.
counting 10 years later.
Oh, yeah, no, that makes
Okay.
sense. Yes, that, okay, that's all I needed to verify. No, it's okay. I just needed to verify.
No, that's good. It's a good question.
That makes
Call for motion.
So moved.
second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Item B is extending the maturity date of the city's sewer revenue loan and disbursement agreement anticipation project note.
So we entered into an agreement December of 2021, 3-year, no interest, $2 million planning and design loan through the Iowa Finance Authority for the engineering and other qualifying expenses for the wastewater treatment plant. So the maturity date is coming upon us. And, you know, as we know, we've taken a pause. So we did ask if we could extend the maturity date. So everything's that we're keeping the same loan. We will just keep drawing down. We have, you know, like what, little under 1.3 million still available to us. So they said, yeah, we could extend that with a new maturity date of December 24th, 2027. So it will still be interest-free for until that period of time. Hopefully by then, we will know what we're doing. We'll have a contract in place. We'll have financing. I'm not sure exactly what we'll do. The first time around, we were really leaning towards an SRF. And if that's what we would do, we would just roll this right into a SRF.
That is what we're planning to do,
So,
unless there'd be drastic changes in the interest market. So,
Okay.
just
in interest rates. And while it is extended for 3 years, both Nick and I don't anticipate that taking that long. We'll know. We should have our planning and design work done by the end of next year in regards to the project.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, interest rate makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Fit that way. Glad they were amenable to that. So.
Move
from
to
it.
approve.
Again.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Jody.
Jody.
Resolution amending resolution number 2024-115 adopted July 1st, 2024 pertaining to fees, amending the electrical permit fees and eliminating the shingle removal permit fee. Well, this one's yours.
So the city's received a lot of feedback from contractors and our community on all of our building, or all of our permit fees, but the one I've been hearing a lot about is the electrical fees. So looking into this a little bit further and doing some due diligence for the contractors, I found that the vast majority of the state of Iowa actually adopts the fee structure from the state, as well as uses the electrical inspector for the state. We found that our fees were significantly higher. So listening to our contractors and our community members, I reached out to the state of Iowa and spoke to their electrical inspector, Brian Young there, and I received their permitting fees from him. So my recommendation would be to also adopt the fees that the state of Iowa has for their electrical fees. So I have those listed here, so I'm just requesting that we amend the fee schedule that we adopted in July and lower those fees. There are a couple that are still staying the same. But the ones that I'll point out that I've heard the most feedback on are the first three here. Well, I'd say four. For the 0 to 100 amp, the 100 to 200 amp, and then the additional amp in the each circuit or feed. We were at $14 for each circuit, which adds up rather quickly. So my recommendation is to lower that to $5 as the state has it. I do plan to come back again next council, doing a little bit more research into this and speaking with a couple contractors again. I found that the state of Iowa does charge a reinspection fee. So that's something I'll be bringing back to the next council meeting as well. But at this time, I'm just recommending that we change our fee structure for the electrical permitting. Also with this, I've heard a lot that we have a shingle permit fee that most of the state does not have. I have verified that that's not a norm for the state of Iowa to have a shingle fee. So I'm recommending that we eliminate that too. The biggest thing with that, I don't know the history on it terribly much, except for the reason that that was there was so that we could make sure that the shingles were being disposed of properly. But again, doing the due diligence and looking into that, it's not a norm for the state of Iowa.
Good.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item D is a resolution authorising the street department supervisor to sign and execute change order number 2 and partial payment application number 7 for Fairmeadow Drive reconstruction project to Castor Construction of Fort Dodge, Iowa.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So the first one is the partial payment application number 7, and this is in the amount of $133,322.13. This includes the release of the $77,000 and the project retainage, reflecting in the 97% completion of the project. I guess to put it in other words, pretty much everything on Fairmeadow Drive from Superior West is completed. Everything's been seeded. We did hold back $10,000 and just in case some of the grass didn't grow in the right of way, it can be reseeded. The only thing left to be completed is the sidewalk that we added as a part of farm credit leading towards the hospital, which will be completed. And we did get with the contractor and allow them to do that. Secondly is the change order number 2, and that includes adjusting quantities to reflect as built quantities that the city approved to the contract. This reduces the contract in the amount of $123,036.50. That's great. There was also a change order number 1, which was approved, I believe, at May 6th.
And that's where we had an issue with the water main and the storm sewer that need to be adjusted. So those were the two things. As far as a little bit of tidbit into the Fairmeadow 2 project, which is pretty exciting, that we're going to be having a bid opening this week. There's a lot of plan holders for that project. So hopefully that's exciting to get a good price on that. So.
Yeah. All for motion.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Brendan. Item E is a motion to acknowledge receipt of acceptance by Black Hills Iowa Gas Utility Company LLC, doing business as Black Hills Energy, a Delaware limited liability company, with the terms and provisions of ordinance number 24-1876 of the city of Webster City, Iowa.
Yes, as presented and described by Mayor Hawkins, this action just simply accepts the terms of the franchise that we've negotiated with Black Hills, and we request your approval of it. That should finalize our action in this regard, as we have taken several actions related to the Black Hills relationship over this year.
Approve.
Second.
All those in favour say aye. Call for motion to adjourn.
Second.
Say aye. Come on, everyone. Bob, did you want to